images of sarcophaguses that were up for auction. Finally, this one came. It was so worth the wait. We call her Liza, after Liza Minnelli.
Howdy y'all, I hope you guys are all doing well, I hope you guys are safe, and I hope you guys are healthy. My name is Josh, and I absolutely love clothing, personal style, and things of that nature. So if you're into that type of content, feel free to subscribe to me here on YouTube, as well as follow me on Instagram at @wears_Galdo. Today's video, I'm going to be living out my 2014 dream of doing sneaker review content on YouTube. But all jokes aside, I purchased a pair of sneakers that back when I was really into sneakers, I absolutely hated. Hated this shoe so much because it just didn't go with what I wore at the time. But now that I'm dressing completely differently, I think I can appreciate these a whole lot better. And without further ado, they're the Nike Air Foamposite 1s. This particular pair is the suede, triple black suede from 2014. And this pair is pretty nice looking. But really the reason why I got this pair is so that I could keep this other pair on ice. And I also got the Comme des Garçons triple black Foamposite 1. And just look at that pattern on the side. Low-key kind of mesmerizing, really cool. I was able to get these for a really good price, which I'll break down in a little bit. But these shoes are crazy, with a rich history to go along with it. So let me break that down for you guys, talk about the shoe itself, have a couple of on bodies, and I hope you guys enjoy the video. Appreciate y'all. So if you guys know me, I really like to go over kind of the nuances of the shoe, but I'm gonna switch it up this time around and I'm gonna show you the shoe first and tell you the history later. So Nike Air Foamposite 1. This particular pair came out in 2014, so the height of my enjoyment for sneakers, but as I mentioned before, I hated this sneaker because of how weirdly clunky it looked. It's just really, the material itself on the upper is really stiff, and I just didn't think it was a good shoe for what I wore at the time, because at the time I was in like a lot of slim to skinny jeans. I had a lot of Vans. I wore a lot of slimmer sneakers. Like I wore a lot of NMDs and Boost shoes like a lot of people did back then in like the 2010s. Now that my style has evolved immensely and I'm wearing a lot more variety of things, I'll still wear slim pants. I'll still wear other things that I used to wear back then. But more often than not nowadays, wider pants, and it kind of lends me to be able to wear these a little bit easier, actually quite a bit easier. And with me being really into ugly, well, quote unquote ugly shoes, I think this really fits the bill for traditionally just odd, ugly shoe kind of. What really drew me towards these is kind of that pattern that you see throughout the upper. Really cool. And the logoing is all tonal on this particular pair, which is awesome. See that Penny Hardaway logo on the heel over here. Another Penny Hardaway logo that is kind of right here on the tongue. So the way that these shoes are constructed are really interesting, and how they came about is also super interesting. But you have this foamposite upper that has like a suede texture on top of it. You have this kind of inner booty area. I put a separate insole in here. I bought these secondhand, so I just wanted to take out that old insole for whoever wore it last, put in my own. But then you have this inner like booty that fits over your foot, which really hugs your foot really well. To really go over how these are going to feel under your feet, it is going to help to actually understand what is kind of going from the sole to your foot. So on bottom, we just have a regular tread over here with the Penny Hardaway logo right in the bottom right here. Just a typical herringbone pattern with just other rubber accents throughout the outside. You see these windows of carbon fiber, which are right here. So there is a carbon fiber shank plate that goes throughout the entire shoe. And on top of that carbon fiber shank plate, the foamposite material actually wraps underneath your foot. And then on top of that, you actually have a full length zoom unit, and then an extra zoom pad underneath your heel. So there is a lot of cushioning, a lot of padding there. It is very responsive. The carbon fiber plate that goes throughout the shoe adds to the responsiveness of the actual shoe itself. And then the zoom unit, or well, double zoom for the heel and full length zoom unit, actually is really comfortable and like padded underneath your foot. And so this is a really comfortable shoe. It's like not the most comfortable I've ever felt because we've had a lot of advancements, and this is technology that's come from 1997. But all in all, pretty comfortable shoe. I would rate it probably a 7 out of 10. And that's not to say that it's bad. 7 out of 10 is like really good. Like a lot of the derbies and boots that I wear, they're like a solid 5 out of 10, but I love wearing them anyway. As far as sizing goes, I went true to size in both the pairs that I have here. And so this is a size 9. I wear typically a size 9 in all my Nike shoes, and they fit great. I could probably go up to a 9.5 and still feel really comfortable, but this kind of inner lining or like little booty area will actually like lock your foot in really, really well. I don't need to lace them very tight at all. I'm not wearing these for like basketball purposes or athletic purposes. For me, this is just kind of like a fashion-centered thing, and so I mean, I think they look really, really good laced loose, kind of similarly to this. I know I could like separate the laces even more, but that's just kind of how I wear them. These suede foams I was able to get on eBay for less than $100, so I was really, really happy to get that for that cheap because I wanted to keep my other pair on ice. And this pair is going to be the Comme des Garçons Foamposite 1. I love this so much just because that really kind of mesmerizing foamposite upper is just so cool. And one of the reasons why I really gravitated toward this shoe is that I know foamposites are known for having that kind of like serrated wave pattern on the side of the shoe, and the fact that on a collaboration Comme des Garçons was able to actually create a different pattern in the shoe itself, it's kind of like reinventing the whole entire silhouette of the shoe. I feel like this collaboration is a lot more involved as far as design goes and really took the foam to a whole new level for me personally. Really the only difference between the regular Foamposite one and the Comme des Garçons one is the actual patterning itself, as well as on the back here that has some branding. And on the tongue, we have, instead of a Penny Hardaway logo, it is just an Air logo, but we still do have that Penny Hardaway logo on the sole. Same exact technology, same exact shoe, just dressed up differently for Comme des Garçons. Now what I will mention, and what is really important to say, is that foamposites are very, very expensive shoes. In 1997, they originally retailed, if I'm not mistaken, for $180, and for 1997, that is crazy expensive. Fast forward to the release of these, and these released in late 2021. These came out and they were $520, which is, for me, absolutely insane. I would pay $520 for like a really nice shoe, like a dress shoe, a derby, a boot. But for a sneaker, $520 is kind of crazy. And I know that in the sneaker climate today, sneaker prices are extremely high, but I didn't really want to pay $520 for this, so I actually got them secondhand on 2nd Street for $300, and that I'm very happy to pay. $300 for like a really good, or a sneaker that I really appreciate. I am okay with paying that. Which is a really, really nice segue into me talking about the history of the Foamposite and why they were so expensive, why they came about. It is really interesting, and I hope you guys enjoyed that part too. Like I had mentioned earlier, they came out in 1997. They are originally made for Scottie Pippen, which when presented to him, he didn't really very much like them. So they were kind of thrown off to the side, and these eventually became the signature shoe for Penny Hardaway. Well, Penny Hardaway wasn't the first person to actually wear them on court. Mike Bibby was the first person to debut the Nike Foamposite back in 1997. Back in 1997, these retailed for $180 if I'm not mistaken, and plugging that into an inflation calculator, that's equivalent to about $350 of today's money, which is crazy to have to pay that for a sneaker back in the 90s. But people still did it. It wasn't the most successful thing in the world at first, and I suspect it is because of such a high price point for a sneaker when they have a lot of other alternatives at the time that were significantly cheaper and performed really just as well. But one very major contributing factor as to why these shoes were so expensive is how they were made. And it was such a labor of love to actually create this shoe that they had to employ the help of other companies to make this shoe happen. Now, how foamposite, or kind of better seen on this shoe right here, how they get this kind of outer shell that's super, super hard, super dense, is it's actually polyurethane that's injection molded and formed that way. This, as you can see, the outer portion, this outer shell lining, is super hard, really durable, and this kind of pattern that you see is the original pattern, this like wave pattern. Well, it was originally designed with like kind of a beetle in mind, that exoskeleton, that hard exoskeleton, and getting that actual design and getting the material to do that was very expensive. Foamposite, the kind of outer portion, the outer shell, is created by injection molding. So they had to create a mold, inject polyurethane, and get that shape. And with the help of a company called Daewoo, which they also make cars, they were able to create this shoe. But those molds that they had to use to create the foamposites were very, very expensive. I think the original molds for foamposites back in 1997 was $750,000 per mold. Now plugging that into an inflation calculator, that is about equivalent to almost $1.5 million today, which $1.5 million as an investment to create a shoe is a wild investment, which is unfortunate that foamposites were not all that popular back in the 90s. Foamposites were really in their heyday in like the 2010s, like the early 2010s to mid 2010s, and arguably further than that. Foamposites really took off, and they really kind of beat the foamposite into the ground with colorways and different like inspirations. So they did some foams that were, let's see, Galaxy foams were absolutely gigantic back in the day. Paranorman foams, Weatherman foams, all the camo foams. They really took this and ran with it when they gained in popularity, because it is a shoe that still retails for kind of a lot of money. Back in 2010, I think they were about $250, and today, I don't really know what the retail price for them is today. Let me actually look that up. So on Nike right now, as of the recording of this video, it looks like there's foamposites on the site for about $240, which they're kind of around that same pretty high price point for a sneaker. And the reason why I get so impressed with the Comme des Garçons version is that that molds that they used to create the original foamposites with the wave pattern was already expensive enough. Well, a collaboration to be able to actually create their own pattern on the molding is so much effort on the part of Nike as well as Comme des Garçons that I'm just really impressed that they were able to take a very expensive shoe and do something very expensive with it. Albeit selling for $520, kind of ridiculous, but visually it is kind of stunning. In regards to styling these shoes, at the very least, straight leg pant. Wide leg pant actually looks pretty good with these, but at the very least, straight leg pant. And that is a contributing factor as to why I hated them so much when I was younger, because back then I was like a fear of God boy that wore like nothing but skinny jeans or zipper denim, and foams to me did not look good with that type of pant. And so straight leg jeans at the very least, wide leg pants look pretty good with these. Yeah, I would say that they're super easy to style. I mean, at least the all black variants or the kind of more neutral colored variants. There are a lot of absolutely insane and wild colors of these that I do not like, but that's kind of the nature of how I think of things now. I'd rather buy things that blend in with the rest of the outfit than stand out. Back in like the old sneakerhead days, having your sneakers stand out and kind of match your outfit was like a really big thing. But nowadays, I want the simple things. I want all black, or I want a simple sneaker. Man, I remember back in the day when I was in like a senior in high school and foams were a really big deal. That was about 2014-ish. Like people would wear foams with like joggers and the cuff would just end right here, and then it kind of had the rest of the pant kind of billowing out upwards. That was not my favorite look in time. that was part of the reason why I disliked this shoe so much at the time. I thought I'd never, ever, ever buy foams in my life. Well, here I am spending money on Comme des Garçons foams and secondhand foams. But live and learn, I suppose. Well, that's all I really have to say about these sneakers. Thank you guys so much for watching as always. I hope you guys learned something. I hope you guys were at least interested in any aspect of this video, but I appreciate your guys' time so much. It is a truly a blessing to be able to make videos for you all. And until the next video, I'll catch you guys later.